In the respiratory system, many times patients come to you, okay, and with problems in the respiratory system, asthma, okay, which can be obstructive disease, or fibrosis, or consolidation in the lung, or other problems, which can be restrictive, okay. Based on that, you have to perform evaluation of the person's respiratory system. And one of the methods, or the best method to evaluate the person's respiratory system is doing spirometry. Okay? Other word for spirometry or other term is called as pulmonary function tests, PFTs. So what's a PFT? Pulmonary function test. Again, the terms, they are self-explanatory. Yes. Pulmonary functions test. So you test for the pulmonary functions. They are called as PFTs. The instrument, machine used to do it is called as a spirometer. And hence the process is called as spirometry. Okay? The printout that you get is called as a spirograph. Similar to ECG, electrocardiography, okay, and electrocardiogram, similar to that, okay. So spirometry is the most commonly used respiratory function test, or you can say pulmonary function test, okay, for assessing respiratory disease worldwide, most commonly used. What is the definition? That's record of the volume movement of air into and out of the lungs is called as spirometry. So what are you recording? Volume. Basically, respiratory system is doing what? The function of the respiratory system, basically the first function is to enable movement or volume movement of air from outside in the environment into the lungs and outside the lungs. This is the primary and the basic thing. Then there is, at the respiratory membrane level, there is exchange of gases and all those things. That is separate. Even hormones are there in the respiratory system which are being secreted, and other controls like the J receptor, etc. But the primary function is to enable volume movement of air from the environment into the alveoli and from the alveoli out into the environment. Recording of this volume movement of air is called as spirometry. In your own words. Not necessary that the same words you should repeat in the definition. If you understand the definition, you can write in your own words. This brings us to the fact that we have to know what are the volumes and are there any other factors which we can label, and then under this labeling we can record it. So yes, there are what shall I say, volumes and capacities of the pulmonary system, of the respiratory system. What? Two things, volumes and capacities. Now let us look it up. Capacities are the terminology, are the terms we use to study the respiratory function. Okay? This pulmonary function test. How many volumes are there? Four. First of all, tidal volume. What is tidal volume? It is the volume of air which is going in and out of the respiratory system at rest. At rest is important because respiratory system volume movement of air will be changing according to your physical level. According to your physical level. So at rest or normally, the volume movement of air that goes in and out, like you are doing right now, like I am doing right now. Maybe my tidal volume is a bit more because I am talking, I am walking, but what you are doing right now. This volume is called as tidal volume. How much is it? About 500 or half a liter, milliliters per respiratory cycle, per breath, okay, not per minute, okay, because this is one. So tidal volume is the volume of air inspired or expired with each normal breath or at rest. It amounts to about 500 milliliters in the adult male. Second is inspiratory reserve volume. Now tidal volume is clear to you all?
Yes, sir.
That means normally we are taking up at rest, we are taking in 500 milliliters. But then the expiratory part of the cycle begins and we give it out. But that means we have some reserve capacity. We have some reserve. I mean, right now if I tell you, after your 500 milliliter that you have taken in inspired right now, can you take more air by voluntary effort? Yes. Yes. Yes, you can. You can do it right now. This is what you are doing. This is not normal. This is not your normal respiratory inspiration and expiration, is it? No. So, the volume of air that you can take above the tidal volume, is called as inspiratory reserve volume. Clear?
Only for inspiration.
Yes. What is the meaning of the word reserve? Not used normally. Reserve means something, some capacity, some volume which is not used normally. You don't use it normally. You keep it for reserve in times of emergency, in times of need. Correct? Inspiratory, during inspiration. That particular volume of air that you can take in after tidal volume is called as inspiratory reserve volume. Clear?
How about expiration, doctor?
We will come to it. Okay? So inspiratory reserve volume. Is it clear what is inspiratory reserve volume? Is the extra volume of air that can be inspired over and above the normal tidal volume when the person inspires with full force. It is usually equal to about 3 liters or 3000 milliliters.
So the maximum is 800. The maximum 800 milliliter.
800? How 800?
The normal 500 milliliter. With the 300.
3000. With the 3000.
3000. So
Eva, you need specs. You need specs.
Besides. Besides.
In one respiratory cycle. In one respiratory cycle. But the cycle is not complete. We are just talking about half of it. Only inspiration. Right now. Right now. So there is normal inspiration, that is called a tidal volume, which is at rest. Now if you make an effort about that, if you do it forcefully, the amount of air that you can inspire, that is called as the inspiratory reserve volume. And it is about 3 liters. Clear so far?
Yes.
Okay. Let's come back to tidal volume again. Now the person is again at rest and inspiring and expiring, inspiring and expiring. What is this? This is tidal volume. In the first case, we had asked the person to make a forceful inspiration after normal tidal volume, after taking a normal inspiration. Now, after giving out a normal expiration, we will instruct him to forcefully expire more air. Are you with me?
Yes.
Is it clear?
Yes.
There is normal inspiration and expiration. Now, after normal expiration, he should make an effort to forcefully remove more air from his lungs. Can you do that? Yes, everyone can do that, normally. Everyone can do that. Now, this is reserved for expiration. Now, this is reserved for expiration. We don't usually expire this out. Isn't it? We don't. But with effort, with force, you can. What will be this called as? This will be expiratory reserve volume. Okay?
Yes.
Expiratory reserve volume. How much is it? About 1100 milliliters or 1100 milliliters or 1.1 liter. Okay?
Yes.
Clear? 3 terms?
Yes.
Tidal volume, inspiratory reserve volume, expiratory reserve volume. Okay. Then the last one is the residual volume. Again, very easy to understand and explain. What is the meaning of the word residual? Residual means something which remains after your effort. Residual means something that remains after the effort is over. So now it is very easy to say what is the residual volume. It is the volume of air remaining in the lungs after the most forceful expiratory effort. Okay? Yani, after expiratory reserve volume, after that, the volume still remaining inside the lung is called as residual volume. And it is about 1.2 liters, 1200 milliliters. Okay? Clear?
Yes.
Tidal volume, inspiratory reserve volume, expiratory reserve volume, residual volume. Let us go to capacities.
For inspiratory and expiratory, they are not like dependent on each other. Yeah. They don't depend on each other.
Please explain further.
I mean, if it inspiratory increase, expiratory it will be increased now.
That will
I mean, separated
Yes.
as
See,
a volume.
they are separate from one another. One
Yes.
is opposite to the other.
Yes.
Yes, one is inspiratory,
Yeah.
another is expiratory.
But logical,
But logically,
yeah, when inspiration increase, expiration will be increase.
will be increased. The amount of the volume
Yes,
will
you
increase.
cannot, yeah.
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely. Definitely.
That
But we are talking about the normal. We are talking about the normal reserves which every person has above tidal volume. What is the inspiratory reserve and what is the expiratory reserve? We want to see that. Okay?
But till now, I didn't get the answer for my question. Like, if it inspiratory increase, it will affect on inspiratory?
It
Or
will.
expir-
Yes,
Yes.
it will. But we are not looking for that. It is very logical.
Yeah.
If there is more air you are taking in, you
It
will
will
give
be
more
more,
air
yes.
out. Okay? That is correct. That's a very simple assertion. Right?
Yeah.
Now let us go for capacities. The bottom line, the formula for remembering capacities is that it's every capacity is a combination of one or more volume. Okay? Every capacity is a combination. If you make one or more volumes together, that becomes the capacity. Like inspiratory capacity. Now what is the inspiratory capacity? If you understand the meaning of the word capacity, you can understand everything. What is capacity? Capacity is the full ability of a person or a machine to do something. That is his capacity. Correct?
Yes.
Now, if you want to say inspiratory capacity, that means the capacity of this particular person's respiratory system to take the total number of air or volume, total volume, not number, total volume of air in inspiration. That is his capacity. So the capacity, inspiratory capacity will be equal to tidal volume plus the inspiratory reserve volume. This whole will be the inspiratory capacity. You know inspiratory capacity, tidal volume is 500 milli and inspiratory reserve volume is 3000 milli. So what is the inspiratory capacity? 3500, 3.5 liters. Similarly, there will be expiratory capacity. Again, tidal volume and the expiratory reserve volume. Okay? Right?
Yes.
Second capacity class. Now, third capacity. Vital capacity. What is vital capacity? What is vital capacity? Definition. The maximum air, volume of air that can be inspired and expired with force. It is a very simple definition in your own words. What is vital capacity?
The maximum amount of volume.
Yeah. Maximum forceful inspiration followed by maximum forceful expiration. Yeah. This is called as vital capacity. So vital capacity will be equal to what? Inspiratory capacity
And
and expiratory reserve volume. Not the expiratory capacity. Because the expiratory capacity and inspiratory capacity, the common thing is tidal volume there. So vital capacity will be equal to inspiratory capacity and expiratory reserve volume. Correct? So that is the fourth capacity, vital capacity.
It's one the volume of the what?
It is everything is written here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you repeat the last?
Last one.
Okay. The vital capacity equals the inspiratory reserve volume.
How do you
I will show you here. See this.
Okay.
See this. Let us come here. Let us discuss the volumes and the capacities. You can make your own formula for vital capacity. It can be inspiratory reserve volume, tidal volume plus expiratory reserve volume. It can be inspiratory capacity plus expiratory reserve volume. It can be inspiratory reserve volume plus expiratory capacity. So you can make your own formula. Just understand what is being said. Okay? Shall we go towards it once again?
For a vital capacity.
I am going towards it again.
Yeah, I know.
I am going towards it again. Okay? So this is tidal volume. What is this tidal volume?
Normal breath.
This is normal inspiration, expiration. This is inspiration, this is expiration. This is inspiration, this is expiration. Okay? How much is this? Roughly 500. You can calculate here. This is 1000. From here to here, this is 1000. So if you leave this much and this much, this is 300 and 200 maybe. So this is 500. So this is tidal volume.
Yeah.
Tidal volume, not vital capacity. Tidal volume.
500.
500.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Okay. Now this is again, what is this? Expiration. Now this is
Inspiration.
inspiration. Now you instruct the subject to
Inspiratory.
forcefully inspire more air. So this is forceful maximum inspiration. What is this?
Inspiratory reserve.
Inspiratory reserve volume. Written here. This is tidal volume. See this tidal volume. This is tidal volume.
Yes.
This is inspiratory reserve volume. Now come here.
Inspiratory reserve.
Expiratory reserve volume. Correct?
Yes.
So the instrument is what the instrument follows the normal expiration. Residual volume. You have the expiration.
This is residual volume.
Last thing is the expiration, right?
Which one?
Residual volume. And the instrument reserve volume. Instrument reserve volume follows the expiration. Always.
Follow.
Instrument reserve volume.
Inspiratory.
Instrument reserve volume. Always follows the expiration.
It's inspiration. How can it
Always
be?
follows the expiration date. Instrument reserve volume.
Logic. Expiration, inspiration.
See. What is this? Inspiration.
Inspiration.
Before it, this is expiration. This is normal. This is normal inspiration, expiration. Now you give instruction to the subject, the patient. After normal expiration, carry out maximum forceful inspiration. After normal expiration, carry out from this point maximum forceful inspiration. So when he starts from here, it goes up like this. But the initial part 500 will be tidal volume,
Yeah.
right? And the volume which he can take in after the tidal volume, this volume is inspiratory reserve volume. Okay, khalas. Then you take normal respiration again. Now you want to find out expiratory reserve volume. So you instruct the patient or the subject that after normal inspiration, you carry out maximum forceful expiration. So this will include the first 500 milliliters, which is normal tidal volume, and the air that comes out after that is the expiratory reserve volume. The air which remains in the lung, even after the maximum forceful expiratory effort, is called as the residual volume. It's called as the residual volume. Now, let us come to capacities. Where is? This is tidal volume. This complete is tidal volume, 500 milli. It is written here, tidal volume, and this is the arrow.
After the inspiratory reserve volume, the expiration here, what's it called?
Where?
After inspiratory reserve.
This one?
Yes.
This is the coming back to normal. This is the record. This is the machine
Yeah.
which is recording your effort. When you will inspire, of course you will give out the air. So when you give out the air, the trace will come back to the baseline. This is the record. Okay? Okay?
Yes, okay.
Now let us go to capacities.
Yeah.
Shall we go to capacity?
Yeah.
Okay. Look at inspiratory capacity. I told you the basic formula to remember capacity. What is it? A capacity is a combination of one or two or more volumes. So what will be inspiratory capacity? Don't look there. You can tell me yourself. It is very easy.
Tidal volume.
Tidal volume plus inspiratory reserve volume. That is inspiratory capacity. What is expiratory capacity?
Expiratory reserve volume will be.
Where is expiratory capacity?
Functional. No, they didn't mention.
They didn't mention it.
No.
Okay, but you can make it.
Yeah.
Can you make it? Yes. Yes. No, it is functional residual capacity.
Yeah.
This is functional residual capacity. Okay? But what is, if there is an expiratory capacity, what can be? It will be this. It will be this. Isn't it? It will be tidal volume plus expiratory reserve volume will be expiratory capacity. But it is not given. Because we don't need it basically. Then come to vital capacity, which I was talking to you about. Now see here, see the record. Maximum forceful inspiration, just like this. Maximum forceful inspiration followed by maximum forceful expiration. So now this and this they are combined. And this becomes the vital capacity. So what is the definition of vital capacity? Maximum forceful inspiration followed by maximum forceful expiration. Right? So what will be it equal to?
Expiratory reserve volume.
You can make your own.
Inspiratory reserve.
It will be inspiratory capacity plus expiratory reserve volume. Or there are three ways you can do it. Or it is tidal volume plus expiratory reserve volume plus expiratory reserve volume. Again you are correct. Sir? So this is vital capacity. I think you were confused about vital capacity. Is it okay now? Vital capacity?
capacity, expiratory reserve volume plus expiratory reserve volume. Expiratory reserve volume here between
Inspiratory.
3,000, yes.
This is 3000.
Yeah, and expiratory,
This one?
yeah, expiratory.
1100.
Okay. Combined between them 4,000 and 100.
And this 500. What about the tidal volume? Right? Okay?
Yeah.
Now let us talk about functional residual capacity. Why it is called as functional residual capacity? One of the very important features, one of the very important capacities while doing pulmonary function tests. This is functional residual capacity. FRC for short. FRC is equal to ERV, expiratory reserve volume, plus residual volume. Right? And what is the definition? How can you define this? What is the functional residual capacity? It is the amount or the volume of air remaining in the lungs after normal, quiet expiration. Quantity of air, volume of air remaining that remains in the lung after normal, quiet expiration is called as functional residual capacity. What will it be?
Expiratory
Can
reserve
you
volume.
calculate? Can you calculate?
Yes.
2000 or 2.3 liters. Functional residual capacity. So you are clear about inspiratory capacity?
Yes.
You are clear about FRC?
Yes.
Vital capacity?
Yes.
Now what? Total lung capacity. After combine everything. Combine everything. That is the total lung capacity. This is the total lung capacity. What is it? About 5.8 liters? 5.8 liters? About 6 liters, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, because these figures are never fixed. They are always different in different people. Okay, so but on an average, in an adult normal male, it is about 5.8. Okay. Okay. Is it clear about capacities? Is it clear all of this?
Yes.
Let us go ahead. Here all pulmonary volumes and capacities are about 20 to 25% less in women. Why? Obviously because of the smaller body size. Smaller body size. So less RBCs, less capacities, volumes and capacities, less cardiac output.
muscle bulk.
Less muscle bulk, everything less. Okay, but brain more. Talking and talking. And they are greater in large and analytic people than in small and asthenic people. So these volumes and capacities are better in persons who are football players, who are athletes, as compared to a person like me, who's asthenic. Asthenic, I mean, not so active, running and doing all these things. I have done all that about 15 years back.
What about pregnant women, doctor?
Yeah.
Pregnant women.
What about pregnant women?
Or like say,
What will happen to the pulmonary functions? Increase or decrease?
increase.
Increase, yes. Increase. Why? Why?
Oxygen, more,
Because of increased demand. Why increased demand? Because of another life inside. That life is demanding more and more. So, and there are pressures also of the growing uterus. So intra-abdominal pressure increases, it is having a pressure on the thorax. So, I mean, there are many reasons. Okay. Plus, volumes and capacity is clear. Okay. Now, there is one thing called as FEV1. Forced expiratory volume. And one indicates the time in second. So, what is FEV1? It is the forced expiratory volume, or in other words, volume of air that is forcefully expired during the first second of expiration. That means when you ask a person to forcefully expire, there will be some duration of expiration, right? He can keep on expiring air for maybe 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. Yes? Yes. So if we calculate the amount of air, the volume of air that is coming out during the first second, that volume of air is called as FEV1, and 1 indicates the first second of expiration. So what is FEV1? Forced expiratory volume of air in first second of expiration. Okay? Yes. Now, in this chart, you can see this is the normal baseline, and you are asking the person to forcefully expire. Okay? When he will expire into the machine, the machine will record a graph, movement of air. This indicates movement of air. This is the volume of air in liters. And on this, there is time. The machine is moving 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Okay? The drum is rotating or the electronic paper is moving. Okay? Okay? So, now 0 to 1, this is the first second of expiration. And this is the trace of expiration, right? So we can find out from here how much, this is the first second. So how much air is coming out from this point to this point. This is the volume that is coming out in 1 second. What is it? What is it?
4 liters.
About. Yeah? So it is always or almost always expressed not in fixed number like 4 liters or things, but it is expressed as percentage. Okay? Why? Because it will change. It will change.
Not exactly.
So we have to express it in the form of a percentage. Normal is 80%. Normal is 80%. Even that is also not fixed. Yani in normal persons, in the FEV1 should be 80%. That means out of the total volume of air that is coming out, almost 80% of the air should come out during the first second itself. This means it is good. This is normal, yeah. Forceful expiration, forceful. Okay? That means there is no obstruction, there is no restriction, nothing. Okay? You understand me?
Doctor, from where we can read?
There is a machine called a spirometer.
From which point we can read?
What?
We can read the.
On this axis there is time. So this is say 0 second.
Victor,
Or
is
this is
there
1 second,
principle?
this is 2 seconds. Okay? So you take the graph
Yeah.
and you just make the point. So this is the point of 0 second. And then you take another point of
Yes.
1. Okay? So what is this? This duration is 1 second, written here. This is duration of 1 second. How much volume of air is coming out? This is the volume of air that is coming out in the first second. Right? Now you see, what is the volume? What is this? This is equal to 4 almost. What is this? This is 0. So almost like 4 liters.
We read from above.
Yes, yes. On this axis.
How I apply it in the phone?
Hmm?
How I apply it? Like number in the phone.
The number in the formula. So this is 4 liters, for example. FeV1 is how much? Almost like 4 liters. What is FVC? This is the vital capacity. How much is the vital capacity? Like it is about 5.5 maybe? 5.5 liters? So FeV1, that is 4 divided by 5 multiplied by 100 to make it percent. That gives you approximately. This is approximate. This is more than or equal to 80%. So I am telling you it is not exactly 80%. It can be more, and it is normal. So more than or equal to 80% should be the result. Okay? Is it clear, FeV1?
Mr. Salah? As if this increases, it's normal.
Yes. Good.
It's good.
Okay, good.
So can I go to difference?
Yeah.
I mean, what we call the 80% is itself.
80% is the FeV1. Normal FeV1. It should be 80%. Equal to or more than 80%.
Okay, but how can
What is the percentage?
I know.
What is the percentage? It is the percentage of volume of air that is coming out in the first second. You don't have to do anything. The machine will calculate for you. You just have to understand the concept. You don't have to calculate anything.
Yeah, I know only to understand.
What is it? What is your question?
My question, 80% is the value of like the FeV1, yeah?
You will calculate percentage means what?
Yeah.
Out of 100. Percentage means out of 100, how much? Right?
Yeah.
Out of, say, for example, 100 marks in MCQs, in end of block, how many marks you are getting? Suppose you are getting 70. That means you are 70%.
Yeah.
Correct? FeV1 out of 100%. 100% means 5. What is the total lung capacity?
5.8.
5.6, 5.8 or 5 liters for example. Okay. 5 liters total lung capacity. Out of the 5 liters, how much air is coming out in the first second of expiration?
At least 80%.
It should be 80 or more. Clear now?
Yeah, but now my question is if FeV1 equal 4 or 80 megasols.
Which one?
FeV1.
FeV1. Huh?
Yeah. Now it's not two values for it. 4 and 80 megasols.
It is the same.
It's the same.
It is the same. 80%. 4 liters out of 5 liters is 80%. 4 liters out of 5 liters is 80%. Out of 100. 5 liters is 100%. What will be 80%? 4 liters. Approximately.
Yeah.
Approximately. The only difference is one we are calculating the volume and other is the percentage of the same. Okay? Comparative spirographs. Now, this is the actual spirograph taken in the machine. Okay?
What's the
Actual. You may have done it.
Yeah, we saw.
It's in that, what was that? That fair or something.
Yeah, we saw book
And you
fair.
had taken my spirometer from my lab and you brought it back without the mouthpieces. So that is why I am not able to do it with you today because there is no mouthpiece.
They
I
were
gave you
used.
a box full of mouthpieces, maybe 200 mouthpieces.
They were used.
And they were
all of them.
unused
Yeah.
and they gave me an empty spirograph back. Anyway, just understand
Book fair.
so that you can
معه كتاب.
do it later on. Anyway, so what is this? This is normal. What is this? Expiration. This is a trace of expiration. When you forcefully expire into the mouthpiece, okay, this will be completed like this. This is the forceful expiration and this is the end of expiration. And then after after expiration you will take an maximum inspiration. So this will be the inspiratory curve. So this completes one of your cycle.
So you read
Forceful.
read it as a lot, huh? You read it as a lot.
Yes. So what do you do in this electronic spirometer? You instruct the subject to take a maximum forceful inspiration first. Okay? Take it, fix it in the mouth and then forcefully expire into the machine and then forcefully inspire again.
Continuously or
Continuously, without stopping.
that's
Without stopping. Okay? One complete cycle. First forcefully accumulate air inside your lungs. Then attach it and then forcefully expire into the mouthpiece and then rapidly forcefully inspire again. So this is expiration and this is inspiration. Okay, clear?
Yes.
This is normal. And if you calculate it, the machine will calculate, this will be 80% or more. Okay? Now you have to understand that one thing is about the height. Okay? In the height, you will know what? Liters per second. How many liters per second? And what is here? The volume. Okay? Yani the distance. So because it is flow, basically. This is flow of air. This is the flow of air. This is the forceful initial flow of air, and then your flow will decrease. So this decreases here. Then you inspire. So maximum inspiration, forceful. Then your inspiration power will slow down, and it will come back here. So this indicates, this is called as the flow chart. So this is a flow. On this axis is showing the flow of the air. And on this axis is the volume. Is the volume of it. Okay?
First, expire in my line. Then
Forceful expire and then forceful inspire. Immediately. Then fast. This is inspiration. This is expiration. And this is inspiration. This is normal. Okay?
What about numbers?
The machine will
Yeah, the machine will print.
Print out.
Just a diagram.
Yeah, this is the diagram of the same. Now let us come to chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Now if there is obstruction to airflow, like asthma for example, there is obstruction to airflow. What will happen? The volume of air that is expired out, this is expiration.
Yeah.
The volume of air that is expired out, there is obstruction to it. Right? So look at this and this. First, the volume of air that is being forcefully expired out, there is obstruction to it. So it will not be complete. You will not be able to expire out more air. Right? So the height is very less. And look at this, I mean, the angle here. It is very wide, this one. Look at the angle here. It is sharp. And less volume of air is coming out. The flow, this indicates the flow. Let me remind you again. So the flow is very less because it is obstructed. And the volume, see, maybe the volume, look at the volume here and look at the volume here. So this indicates slow and long-lasting expiration. This indicates obstruction to the expiratory effort, like asthma for example. And then immediately after that, you carry out the inspiration. Look at the inspiration also. So there is obstruction to inspiratory effort also. Because there is obstruction there, like asthma. In asthma, the bronchial constriction is there, correct? The smooth muscles of the bronchi, because of the allergy or anything, it will constrict. There can also be mucus secretion, accumulation in the lumen of the bronchi. So physical obstruction and because of the reduction in the lumen also, there is obstruction to air. What about? Now you apply it. What is emphysema? Same. So it is written COPD. So it can be any obstructive pathology. I am using asthma as an example because that is the best example, easily understandable. Now let us go here. We don't have much time.
At the moment, second picture, this volume and this flow, yes?
Yes, because it shows obstruction, less flow and less volume. Okay? Obstruction.
Why it's shifted to the left?
Why it is shifted to the left?
Yeah.
Why? Look here. This is flow, right? And this is flow. Now, what is happening over here? What is happening? This you can compare the normal. This is the normal. Okay? This is the normal. And this is the obstructed flow. This is the obstructed flow.
That's mean increase in respiratory cycle. Because
Increase
first
respiratory cycle. The reduction in
duration.
duration. This indicates reduction in duration between two.
Respiratory cycle.
But the one here is not the force is not only. It's not the force is not one. Obviously,
Of course, force is not, force we cannot calculate here. The force will be more. The effort by the person will be more. But we cannot calculate it here.
yeah, but the inspiration will be normal.
Inspiration.
This technology is normal or is used for like inspiration.
Is it normal, this diagram?
No, I mean, we talked about the expiration, instead of up down. What about the inspiration?
This is the inspiration. This is inspiration.
No.
And this is the normal inspiration. This is the normal person's inspiration. And this is the inspiratory effort of the person who is having obstruction. So it is also affected.
Also,
Also. But more affected is
expiration.
expiration. Both are affected. Because if this is the lumen, if the lumen is obstructed, outflow is also affected, inflow is also affected. Naturally, it will also be affected. But more affection is on the respiratory. What is this ILD? Interstitial lung disease. Now, one pathology, one problem is in the bronchi, is in the supply system. Now let us go to outside. Outside means we are outside the alveoli. Outside the alveoli, yani in the interstitium of the lung. Right? Now if there is, you must have studied that there are elastic forces in the tissues. Parenchyma, lung parenchyma, the elastic forces are there, and other forces are there. But if this is reduced because of fibrotic change, if there is fibrosis or other diseases, other pathologies, which reduce the elastic nature of the lung parenchyma, what will that do? That force will oppose expansion of the lungs. Yes or no?
Yes.
Are you understanding me? You have to understand this. You have to understand the difference between forces which are inside, which is obstructing the airflow, that is in the lumen of the airways, in the lumen of the passages. This will obstruct the airflow. Another force is, it will restrict the expansion of the lung. So one condition is obstructive, another condition is restrictive. So restriction, yani I want to expand, I am a balloon, I want to expand, but outside forces are not allowing me to expand. So is it you will call it as obstruction or restriction? Restriction. So this is restrictive pathology. What is the restrictive pathology? Interstitial lung disease, for example. And you can, it is just a common term, like this is a common term. You can apply it to all types of pathologies. Now what will happen here? What will happen here to the pulmonary function test? If the restriction is there, it will be delayed. One thing is, it will not be at its normal time. It will be delayed because it is restricted. More force is required for me to expire or inspire. But will it affect my flow? No, it will not affect the flow because flow will only be affected when there is obstruction. Correct? Okay? So flow is not affected. Look at the height, almost like normal. Right? What about the FEV1? It is also almost normal. FEV1 will also be almost normal here. Isn't it?
Yes.
What is FEV1? It is the volume of air flowing out in the first second, almost 80%.
Yes.
Right? So even if, say for example, instead of the full volume here, instead of 4 liters, maybe he is able to take 3 liters. But 80% of 3 liters, so his FEV1 will remain normal. Getting my point? Okay?
Yes.
Percentage. That is why FEV1 is expressed in percentage, not in per liter or per milliliter. Okay? Okay? So here FEV1 will be normal. What about the vital capacity? It may be reduced, isn't it? Look at the height here, look at the height here. Look at the depth here, look at the depth here. So vital capacity will be less because there is restriction to expansion. So vital capacity will be less, FEV1 will be normal. What about in COPD? Vital capacity is reduced and FEV1 is also reduced. Will you remember the difference? In COPD, FEV1 reduced. VC, vital capacity, reduced. In restrictive airway diseases, FEV1
Normal.
may be normal or will be normal. Vital capacity reduced. Why? You can explain it. Because there is restriction here, there is obstruction there. Forget about the dotted lines. Okay? Let's not. I mean, there are so many other things also. So many things are there in spirometry. But let us stick to the basics. Okay? Interpretation. I have already done the interpretation. So this is for you. You can read it. Interpretation of spirometry. Low FEV1, FVC. Low FEV1. And there is normal or high FEV1. Okay? Normal or high.
Should be high.
Can be high. Like I told you, it can be equal to or more than 80%. So if it is more than 80%, high FEV1. Obstructive.
Yeah.
Low FEV1. Bronchodilator challenge. What do you mean by bronchodilator challenge? After you do the PFT for the patient, give him a bronchodilator. Give him a bronchodilator. Make him sit for about 10-15 minutes, half an hour. Then do his pulmonary function test again. Right? Now what do you expect? It will improve. It should come back to normal. Bronchodilator challenge. Increase in FEV1. Asthma. The person is having asthma. No increase in FEV1. The person is having COPD. Which is again, asthma is again part of COPD. But asthma is basically because of reduction in bronchi diameter because of smooth muscles of the bronchi. That is asthma. What is asthma? What is asthma? It is an allergic condition in which the smooth muscles of the bronchi, they undergo a spasm. If because of the spasm, there is bronchoconstriction. If you give bronchodilator, if there is increase in FEV1, then the person is having asthma. If after giving bronchodilator, there is no increase in FEV1, that means the person is not, there is another COPD, not asthma. There is obstruction. Maybe there is anything, tumor or eye problem, mucus or another thing. Clear?
Yes.
Similarly, restrictive disease. This is obstructive. Similarly, restrictive disease. Okay?
So, what does COPD mean?
What does COPD mean? Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. What does DLCO mean? Restrictive disease. I have already explained to you what restrictive means from the outside. Bronchodilator challenge. What is this DLCO? If it is normal, chest wall weakness. If there is decreased, interstitial lung disease. Restriction to expansion of the lungs can be because of two reasons. Right? One thing is the lung parenchyma itself is not allowed. The lung parenchyma. It is interstitial lung disease.
Or
Which is
from the chest.
interstitial lung disease. Huh?
Or from the outside. From the
Yeah, or not within the lung, but in the thorax, in the chest wall. So, if muscles of the inspiration, intercostal muscles, etc. If they are weak because of myasthenia gravis or because of other conditions or because of other diseases, if the chest wall is weak, this will be normal. If it's not normal, if it is decreased, there is interstitial lymphocytes. This is the spiral lab that you took from me to the fair. You remember this?
Yes.
So this is the spiral lab. This is the mouthpiece, this is the printer, etc. And you have to input the patient data, name, gender, male or female, etc. Okay? And other data you have to input, and then you can. This is where he has to expire and inspire. This is the mouthpiece. This is also electronic, so it is all connected, and will give you a printout. This is another spirometer called as Spirolab. This is Spirolog. Different companies. I mean, different.
Isn't there a risk of infection because many people have TB or other things easily it's just
It's technical features of the device. This is just to show you, not technical. Don't worry, it's not coming in OSPI or something. Just to show you. There are so many things. Okay? If you become a pulmonologist, a specialist consultant, then you will need to know all this. Right now, just look at it. Okay, interesting. Just say that. Expiratory reserve volume and the pollution. See, FEV1 volume is right in the first second. And FVC, post vital capacity. Okay, IC inspiratory capacity, maximum ventilatory volume. Just look at it. Have a look at it. You will know different things. That is it about the spirometry. Basically, there are more things here because there are more things a doctor should know. Okay, there are also procedure, how to do it, etc. What is FVC? What is post vital capacity? How to do it? This is all I have written here. Description of how to do for FVC, how to do for SVC. Okay. Maximum ventilatory volume, determination, how you will determine, okay, residual capacity, functional residual capacity, total length, how? So using the helium dilution method, etc. How do you determine these indications for spirometry? When will you do spirometry? For diagnosis, for monitoring, for evaluation of disability or impairment, for public health. And then the description of diagnostic, monitoring, evaluation of disability or impairment. Okay? Just have a look at it. And public health. Thank you.
Thank you.